Understand this carefully. The most dangerous thing in this world is not rejection, not failure, not even heartbreak. The most dangerous thing is slowly losing your self-respect without even realizing it, without feeling the exact moment it disappears. And the scariest part is, by the time you finally notice it, you are already so far gone that standing back up feels almost impossible. Have you ever noticed how some people keep tolerating disrespect in their lives? Again and again. People ignore them, undervalue them, speak over them, take them for granted, and yet they stay, they adjust, they justify, they convince themselves that they are being patient, kind, understanding, but in reality, they are slowly destroying their own self-respect. Self-respect does not collapse in one dramatic moment. It erodes silently, through small compromises, through repeated self-betrayal, and every time you go against your own values, your mind records a quiet message that you are not worthy of your own respect. And once that message is repeated enough times, it becomes your identity. And here is the truth most people avoid. The world does not treat you the way you deserve. It treats you the way you allow it to treat you. If you do not define your value, the world will define it for you, and it will always define it lower than what you truly are. Self-respect is not just a feeling. It is a psychological structure, an internal standard, an invisible boundary system that determines what you accept, what you reject, what you chase, and what you walk away from. And most people lose it, not because they are weak, but because they are unaware. They do not realize that every time they say yes when they want to say no, they weaken it. Every time they stay silent when they should speak, they weaken it. Every time they tolerate behavior that goes against their dignity, they weaken it. And slowly, without any noise, their identity shifts from someone who chooses to someone who begs. And this is where the real damage begins. Because once you lose your self-respect, you start needing validation, you start seeking approval, you start adjusting your behavior just to be accepted. And the more you do that, the more people sense it. Humans are extremely sensitive to psychological signals, even if they cannot explain it consciously. They can feel it. They can feel when someone values themselves, and they can feel when someone does not. And when they sense that you do not respect yourself, they unconsciously lower their respect for you too. Not always intentionally, but naturally, because respect is not requested, it is projected, and projection comes from identity, not words. You can say, "Respect me 1,000 times," but if your behavior says, "I will tolerate anything," no one will take your words seriously. And this is where most people get trapped in a painful loop. They try to gain respect by pleasing others, by overgiving, by being available all the time, by sacrificing their own needs, thinking that one day people will finally value them. But the opposite happens. The more you abandon yourself, the less others value you. Because at a deep psychological level, people trust how you treat yourself more than how you ask them to treat you. If you show through your actions that your time is not important, your boundaries are flexible, your standards are negotiable, then people will adapt to that standard, And this is not cruelty. This is human nature. People follow patterns, and your behavior sets the pattern. This is why self-respect is not about demanding better treatment. It is about becoming someone who naturally receives it. But to understand how to rebuild it, you first need to understand why it gets lost. And the first reason is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of being alone. Many people would rather stay in a situation that disrespects them than face the uncertainty of being alone. Many people would rather stay in a situation that disrespects them than face the uncertainty of being alone, because loneliness feels immediate, while loss of self-respect feels gradual. But what they do not realize is prolonged self-betrayal creates a deeper loneliness, one where you are not just alone with others, you are disconnected from yourself. And that is the worst kind of isolation. The second reason is approval addiction. From a young age, many people are conditioned to seek validation from parents, teachers, society. Good behavior gets rewarded. Disagreement gets punished. So the mind learns that being accepted is more important than being authentic. And this pattern continues into adulthood. People start shaping their personality, their opinions, their behavior just to fit in. And every time they do that, they move one step further away from their true self. And self-respect cannot survive where authenticity does not exist, because self-respect is not built on performance. It is built on alignment. Alignment between what you believe and how you behave. The third reason is emotional dependency. When your happiness depends on someone else's presence, their approval, their attention, you lose your power, because now your emotional state is controlled externally. And when someone controls your emotional state, they indirectly control your standards. You start tolerating things you normally would not, just to keep them. You ignore red flags. You justify toxic behavior. You lower your expectations. And slowly, your self-respect fades, not because you wanted to lose it, but because you were afraid to lose them. And this is the painful irony. The more you try to hold onto someone by sacrificing yourself, the more you lose both yourself and eventually them. And this is the painful irony. The more you try to hold onto someone by sacrificing yourself, the more you lose both yourself and eventually them, because no relationship built on self-abandonment can sustain respect. And without respect, attraction, connection, and trust slowly die. Now here is the deeper psychological truth most people never confront. Self-respect is not something others give you. It is something you enforce within yourself. It is the result of consistent self-honoring, keeping your word to yourself, standing by your values, even when it is uncomfortable, walking away, even when it hurts, speaking up, even when your voice shakes, and choosing long-term dignity over short-term comfort. But this is difficult, because the brain is wired for comfort, not dignity. The brain wants to avoid pain, avoid conflict, avoid rejection. so it pushes you to choose the easier path, even if that path slowly destroys your identity. And this is where discipline comes in, because self-respect is not built through motivation. It is built through discipline, through repeated actions that reinforce your worth, not in front of others, but in private. How you treat yourself when no one is watching defines how others will treat you when everyone is watching. If you constantly break promises to yourself, ignore your own needs, tolerate your own excuses, then you are training your mind to see yourself as unreliable and unimportant. And once your mind sees you that way, it becomes impossible for others to see you differently, because your internal perception shapes your external reality. Now, rebuilding self-respect is not about becoming aggressive or ego-driven. It is about becoming grounded, clear, and non-negotiable in your standards. It is about saying, "This is who I am. This is what I stand for, and this is what I will not tolerate," without anger, without arrogance, but with certainty. And certainty is powerful, because people may challenge your words, but they rarely challenge your consistency. If you consistently walk away from disrespect, people learn. If you consistently honor your boundaries, people adjust. If you consistently choose yourself, people either respect it or remove themselves, and both outcomes are beneficial, because self-respect naturally filters your environment. It removes people who benefit from your weakness and attracts people who align with your strength. And this is when your life begins to change, not because the world suddenly became better, but because your standards became higher. You no longer chase validation. You attract respect. You no longer beg for attention. You command presence. You no longer fear losing people. You fear losing yourself. And that shift changes everything, because the moment you truly decide, that you will not betray yourself anymore, your entire identity begins to rebuild, slowly, quietly, but powerfully. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. You will feel guilt when you say no. You will feel fear when you set boundaries. You will feel loneliness when you walk away. But understand this, that discomfort is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are breaking old patterns and building a new identity, an identity that is rooted in self-respect. And once that identity is strong, everything else follows. Better relationships, clearer decisions, stronger confidence, deeper peace. Because at the end of the day, self-respect is not about how the world sees you. It is about how you see yourself. And when that vision becomes strong, unshakable, aligned, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. And this is where your real power begins, not in controlling others, but in no longer needing to, because the person you become commands respect without ever asking for it. And if you truly understand this, not just intellectually, but deeply, you will never again trade your self-respect for temporary comfort, because you will finally realize that the moment you lose yourself, you lose everything, And in the end, this is what everything comes down to. Not how many people stayed, not how much love you received, not how much approval you collected, but how much of yourself you were able to keep. Because the truth is, people will come and go, situations will change, emotions will rise and fall, but the relationship you have with yourself, that stays, that defines everything. And if that relationship is built on compromise, fear, and self-abandonment, then no matter how much you gain on the outside, you will always feel empty on the inside. But when that relationship is built on self-respect, on clarity, on unshakable inner standards, then even in silence, even in solitude, you will feel powerful, because you are no longer depending on the world to validate your existence. You are rooted in your own value. So from this moment, make a decision, not a temporary motivation, not an emotional promise, but a clear internal decision that you will not betray yourself anymore, that you will not shrink to fit into places that do not respect you, that you will not silence your truth just to be accepted, and that you will walk away from anything that costs you your dignity, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it is lonely, even if it takes time, because losing others is painful, but losing yourself is destruction, and you were not built to live like that. You were built to stand, to choose, to walk with certainty, to carry a presence that does not beg, but naturally commands respect. And once you reach that point, everything changes, not because the world becomes kinder, but because you become stronger, and that strength becomes your identity. So protect it, build it, live by it, because at the end of the day, self-respect is not just a trait. It is your foundation. And once that foundation is strong, nothing in this world can truly break you. This is not just a message. This is a reminder of who you are and who you must become. And if this resonated with you, if somewhere deep inside you felt this truth, then stay connected, because this journey of understanding the human mind, the hidden patterns, and the deeper realities of psychology has only just begun. This is Voxlore Audio, where we don't just speak, we reveal what most people never see.